Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. Many years ago, China was a very different country. It was known as a poor nation. Life was hard for many people. The country was largely closed off from other nations. It did not have strong connections or trade with the rest of the world. Its role in the global economy was very small. In the year 1950, China's part of the world's total economic activity was only about 5%. This followed a difficult period in China's history, with many problems and challenges. But over the past 70 years, China has gone through a huge transformation. Today, China is a very strong and important country on the world stage. Its economy has grown to be one of the largest. By some important measures, China now has the biggest economy in the world. China is also the top country for making goods. Factories there produce a vast amount of products used by people everywhere. How did this incredible change happen? How did China move from being a poor, mostly farming country to having such a powerful economy and leading the world in manufacturing? This change happened in a relatively short time, around 70 years. It is a story of economic growth that is perhaps the fastest and largest in human history for any country. No other nation has seen such a dramatic rise in such a short period. This rapid development is very important for understanding today's global situation. It is one of the biggest changes in the modern world. This story will guide you through China's remarkable journey. It will explain the key steps, the major decisions, and the policies that helped China's economy grow so quickly. We will learn about the leaders who brought new ideas and guided the country's direction. We will see how China gradually opened itself up to the world for trade and business. We will also see how the hard work and effort of hundreds of millions of people played a crucial part in building this new China. During this time, China also helped a very large number of people move out of poverty, a number over 800 million. Understanding China's rise is essential because it helps explain many important things happening in the world today, such as global trade patterns, international relations, and the balance of power between countries. This book aims to present China's journey in a balanced and clear way. We will look at the great successes and achievements, as well as the problems and difficulties that China faced along the way. It is a complex and fascinating story with many different aspects. This first chapter is just the beginning of exploring how China became the strong country it is today. 2. Old China and first changes. Many years ago, China was a very different place. Life was hard for most people. There were difficult times like the Great Famine and the Cultural Revolution. The country was mostly closed to the outside world. It was a poor country then. After some time, the leader Mao Zedong started to make small changes. He began talking with the United States. This was a slow process to end China's separation from other countries. Then, in 1976, Mao Zedong died. After his death, there was a time of discussion and change in the country's leadership. A new leader, Deng Xiaoping, became very important. He had different ideas. He thought China needed to change to become stronger and help its people have better lives. He believed it was important to improve the economy. Deng Xiaoping's plan was called reform and opening up. It meant changing how the economy worked and opening the country to the world, but not too fast. China did not want to change everything at once. They decided to make changes slowly, step by step. Deng Xiaoping encouraged leaders to accept that the country was not advanced and that they should learn from others. The focus became improving the economy and the lives of the people. This was a big change from the past. China started to look outside its borders and think about new ways to grow. The first steps to connect with the world and change the old ways began. 3. New ways to grow. After the old leader died, Deng Xiaoping became an important person. He had a new plan for China. He wanted to change the country and make people's lives much better. He looked at other countries like Singapore to see how they grew their economies so well. Deng's plan was called reform and opening up. A very important first step was creating special economic zones. These were special places in China, usually near the coast. In these zones, the rules for doing business were very different from the rest of the country. Private businesses could start and grow more easily. People could trade goods with other countries. Money from other countries could come in and be used for new projects. This was done to help foreign companies feel safe and want to build factories there. These first 4 zones, like Shenzhen, became rich very quickly. Many foreign factories started working, making products to sell around the world. Also, Chinese people could start their own small businesses inside these zones. After this first success, many more cities and areas along the coast became special economic zones too. This helped trade and business grow much faster across the country. Life also changed in a big way for farmers in the countryside. Before, farms were very big and owned by the whole group of people. Deng's plan ended this system. Instead, farmers were given their own small pieces of land to work. They could grow food for their families and also sell extra food they produced. This change made farmers work harder because the food they grew was their own. It helped increase food production a lot and helped stop hunger in the country. When farmers earned more money from selling food, they could buy more things. This helped factories that made goods for farmers, like tools or clothing, to grow too. Foreign companies were interested in building factories in China because there were many people who needed work, especially in the countryside. These workers did not need high pay compared to workers in richer countries. To build factories, foreign companies often had to work together with Chinese companies in what were called joint ventures. This helped China learn new ways to make products and use new technology. China focused strongly on building its industry and making products. Step by step, the country changed from a poor farming country to one with many busy factories and growing trade. This new way of growing the economy, using market ideas under state control, helped China become stronger and richer. It was a very big change from the past and set the path for future growth. The main idea was to quickly develop the country's ability to produce goods and improve people's lives. 4. Making things and selling them. Many factories started in China. Foreign companies came to China to build these factories. They came because China had many people who needed work. These workers were ready to work hard for low pay. People often worked very long hours, sometimes 12 hours a day or even more, to earn money. They accepted minimal pay because they needed the jobs. In some factories, even young people worked like children, and they were paid less than adults. These low costs helped foreign companies, making it cheaper to make things in China. Because of this, many factories were built very quickly across China in the 1980s. This rapid building of factories changed the country's look and economy very quickly. Companies from countries like America opened factories. For example, car companies moved their production. Companies from Taiwan also invested money in factories. China began to make many different products for the world. The factories produced huge amounts of goods like clothes, shoes, toys, and simple electronic items. Making and selling these goods became very important for China's economy. China was becoming a place where many things were made and sold to other countries, and many people found new jobs that helped them earn money and live better than before. But during this time of fast change and economic growth, there was also a difficult event. As China opened up and the economy grew, some people wanted other changes too. They felt the country should also have more political freedom. In 1989, people protested in Beijing. A large group, including students, workers, and businessmen, gathered in Tiananmen Square. They were asking the government for changes and more rights. Students wanted more freedom to speak and have their own ideas. Workers wanted better conditions and more help from the government. Business people wanted more economic freedom. The government decided to stop the protests by force. Soldiers were sent to the square. There was a conflict, and sadly, many people were hurt or killed. The exact number of people who died is still not clear. It was a very sad and difficult moment in China's history. After this event, the leader, Deng Xiaoping, made some changes in the government. A new important leader came to power named Jiang Zemin. Before this, he was the leader of Shanghai and had helped make that city very rich through economic development. 5. China and the world. As China grew stronger from making and selling goods, its place in the world changed. A big event happened in 1997. Hong Kong, which was part of Britain for many years, came back to China. Beijing said it would let Hong Kong keep its own way of life and laws for a time. 2 years later, Macau also returned to China. Like Hong Kong, it had special rights. China also started to look outside its borders. Its companies began to invest money in other countries. This was part of a plan called the Go Out policy. China wanted to work with the world. In the 1990s, it joined important groups like APEC, which helps countries in Asia and the Pacific work together on trade. A very important step was in 2000, and one when China became a member of the World Trade Organization, or WTO. This meant China would follow world trade rules and could trade more easily with many countries. China also started to help poorer countries. It became an investor, giving money and building things. For example, after a time of conflict, China started investing in Vietnam, helping to build factories there. China especially looked to Africa for raw materials it needed, like oil and metals. It built friendly connections with many African countries. China started a special group in 2006 to help Africa. In 2009, China gave Africa many billions of dollars in loans. In return, Chinese companies could use mines and get resources. China sometimes helped these countries by writing off some of their debt and then gave them new loans. China also tried to invest in places like Eastern Europe and Latin America. These investments helped build roads, power plants, and other important things in those countries. China was becoming a big player on the world stage, trading and investing more than ever before. 6. A big plan for trade. Later, a new leader came to China. His name was Xi Jinping. He wanted China to connect even more with the world and grow its trade. He had a very big idea called One Belt, One Road. This idea was about building connections across land and sea. At first, it was a plan to build a large network of railways. This network would connect countries in Central Asia with China and go all the way to Eastern Europe. It was like bringing back the old Silk Road, a famous path for trade from long ago. But the plan quickly became much bigger. It also included improving trade by sea. China planned to develop ports in countries far away, especially in Africa. Soon, China started building railways in African countries too. These railways helped move important resources from inside Africa to the ports so they could be shipped to China and other places. China also put a lot of money into building roads and railways in other parts of the world, like parts of Europe and Russia. The One Belt, One Road plan also meant investing in many countries, including a lot in Africa and Latin America. China gave very large loans to African countries, billions of dollars. In return for loans, China often got access to mines and resources like oil and metals that China needed for its growth. China sometimes helped the poorest countries by canceling their old debts, but then they often gave them new loans. China worked with many different governments in Africa. China also invested in countries in Latin America. They put money into mines there. China tried to build a very big canal in one country in Latin America, hoping it would be an important shipping route. But this plan stopped after a few years because it cost too much money and did not work well. Buying mines in another country in Latin America was also difficult. There were problems with workers and local people, and the project was hard to finish. China also used money to build basic things in Latin America, like power plants, roads, and buildings for businesses. These projects often did not make much money for China in return. Sometimes, China even spent money to help governments in Latin America that were friendly to China. Some parts of the One Belt, One Road plan were successful, helping trade and building new links across the world. But other parts were hard and faced many problems. The plan to build a railway in parts of Europe was expensive and did not bring much profit. When China gave loans, they sometimes asked countries to agree to political things, like not recognizing Taiwan. This made some countries very dependent on China because of their debt. People sometimes called this debt trap diplomacy. The One Belt, One Road idea showed China's big plan to connect and trade with many parts of the world through building and investing, aiming to increase its influence. 7. New strength and new problems. China became much stronger in recent years. This strength was seen in different areas. One area was military power. In 2017, China opened its first military base outside its own borders. This base was built in the African country of Djibouti. China explained the base was needed to help stop pirates in the sea nearby. Several other countries also had forces in Djibouti. At the same time, China became a major seller of weapons. It was one of the top 5 countries selling weapons in the world. China often sold weapons to governments that were isolated by other nations. These sales sometimes happened on credit, which made these governments rely more on China. China even allowed the Taliban government from Afghanistan to open an embassy, which was a notable step. Suddenly, the world changed with the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic created big challenges for China. The country put in place very strict rules to control the virus. These rules meant that many factories had to stop working for periods of time. This made it hard for businesses that made products in China. Because of the strict rules and other reasons, some foreign companies decided to move their production out of China. They looked for places to make things in other countries. Another reason for companies moving was that the cost of workers in China was higher than before. As China's economy grew, people's lives improved and they expected better pay. This made China a more expensive place for some types of manufacturing. China also faced problems in its relationships with other countries. There were significant disagreements about trade, especially with the United States. Some countries in Europe also introduced restrictions on trade with China. Reports of China's activities in African countries sometimes led to concern or problems. Inside China, there were also signs of political challenges and disagreements among leaders. China had achieved remarkable growth and global importance, but with this new strength came a set of new and difficult problems. These issues, from the pandemic's effects to international tensions and internal matters, made the path ahead for China less clear. China's journey continued, but with new challenges to manage alongside its growing power. 8. What next for China? Today, China is a very important country in the world economy. It is a big economic power. China's economy is now a very large part of the whole world's economy. It is bigger than some other large economies. China is the world's biggest maker of goods. It makes nearly 1/3 of all goods made in the world. This change happened very fast in just a few decades. It went from a poor country to a very important country in a short time. In the past, China was a poor country. Life was hard for many people, but now many people live much better lives. Millions and millions of people have moved out of poverty. More than 800 million people are not poor now. They have more modern lives and more chances for education and work than before. This is a big success. How did China become so strong so quickly? It was because of different plans and new ideas for the economy. The government made plans for growth and change. The country started to open up to the world step by step. This helped bring in new ideas, technology, and money from other countries. People worked very hard in factories and businesses across the country. This hard work helped the economy grow very fast for many years. It was a mix of careful plans, hard work by many people, and opening the country to trade and investment from outside. But what about the future for China? there are still questions. Will the economy continue to grow quickly like before? There are challenges for the economy inside the country now, like needing new ways to grow. Also, how will China work with other countries in the world? China's position in the world is changing quickly, which affects many things like trade and relations. This is important for everyone around the world. Other countries are watching China closely to see what it does next and how it uses its power in the future. China's story is not finished yet. It is still a country that is changing and developing. The next years will be very important to see what happens next for China and for the world. Will the economy stay strong? Will China's place in the world change more? How will it face the problems that come with being a big power in the world? The story of China continues. Only time will tell what is next for China.